Hi, so I've decided that every 3 months I'm going to do a quarterly vibe check where I take stock of the previous quarter and I use that information to determine how I want the next quarter to go. And we've just experienced the first 3 months of 2024, which means that today is the Q1 vibe check. And I'm also gonna go over like a little mini springtime TBR/TBW at the end. Just some books and movies that give me spring energy that I wanna make sure I ingest over the next 3 months. Vibe check.
Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear my voice? Anybody out there? Anybody hears me? Please respond.
So in Q1, I read 24 books, and the genre breakdown is skewed as hell, mostly because of the Wayward Children binge read that I did in January. But we have 19 fantasy, 2 sci-fi, 1 horror, 1 memoir, and 1 self-help, which means that 79% of the books that I've read so far this year have been fantasy. And that might sound like a lot, but I'm not mad about it because A, I'm a fantasy reader, it's what I like best, I don't mind that it's a majority of what I read, and B, because the majority of my physical TBR is fantasy books. Like a third of every book that I haven't read in my house is fantasy. So obviously the majority of what I read is going to be fantasy because it's the majority of what I have to choose from on my shelves. But that being said, my first goal for Q2 is to diversify my books more. I love sci-fi almost as much as, if not just as much as fantasy, and I'm not getting my sci-fi fix. I've read Dune and This Is How You Lose the Time War, that's it so far. I now love horror, and for some reason, my brain has somewhat successfully convinced me that I can only read horror in the fall, like September, October, November. So I need to course correct and be reading horror more throughout the year. Also, you may have noticed that not a single general non-speculative fiction has been read so far this year, even though miscellaneous fiction takes up the second biggest slot of my physical TBR. And that is a problem. I love reading about people and their deep, dark issues. I just have not been gravitating towards general fiction at all this year for some reason. Who knows? I don't know. So a specific goal in here for Q2 is to read more miscellaneous fiction, which I'll actually be forced to do thanks to a new video series I'm starting. I'm not gonna tell you anything at all about it, but the first part of the video series should be coming out at the end of this month, and it's gonna be a fun challenge series, and I'm very excited for it, but that's all, nothing more. There is also a list of books and movies that I made at the beginning of 2024 that I was supposed to film a video and talk about last week, but with the pneumonia, that video is being pushed to early May, I think. But this is a list that I made in January with all the books and movies that I want to make sure that I get to in 2024 no matter what. And we are 25% of the way through the year now, so I should be 25% through the books part of that list. But I'm only 20.29% of the way through, which is not that far off. I thought I'd be doing worse. It's not that far off, but another goal for Q2 and beyond is to make sure I'm slotting books from this list into videos when I'm able to. So that's goal 3. As for movies, I'm pretty sure this is the lowest number of movies per quarter that I've watched in God knows how long. I watched
18
movies in Q1, which is not even 2 a week, which for me is low. The genre breakdown has been
3
action adventure, 4 drama, 4 comedy, 3 sci-fi, 1 fantasy, 1 romance, 1 kids/animation, and 1 horror. So we have a way more even split here than we did with books. The movie goals I have for Q2 are more about substance than genre. The first movie goal, I think 4th goal overall. I don't know, maybe I'm messing that up. The first movie goal is more watches and less rewatches. With these 20 movies from Q1, it's an even 50-50 split. It was 10 rewatched movies and 10 movies that I watched for the first time. And I love a good rewatch, but I get too comfortable. There are so many movies I need to see. And so I'd like to get that ratio to like 75-25. That feels good. Somewhere around there would feel a lot better than a 50-50 split. And speaking of comfortable, there are so many movies that I've put on TBW after TBW after TBW that I just keep putting off watching because I'm afraid that I'll love them too much. And let me know if that's like, is that a me thing? Do other people do that? Do you find something that you know you're gonna love way too much and so it scares you off, and so you just never wind up watching it? Because I do a whole lot. Movies like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Past Lives, Minari, all of these things that I've had on lists for literal past lives, not years, but years, and I'm just not doing it because I'm scared of loving something too much. What the fuck is wrong with me? So the next goal for Q2 is to watch the fucking movies you know you're gonna love. Why is it so hard? Stop watching nothing movies and stop saving the good stuff for later for no reason at all. Watch the good movies. The next movie goal is to see more movies in theaters. For some reason, last year I was horrible with this. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. Like, what is wrong with me? And for some reason, I missed so many movies during their theatrical releases, and I can't do that this year. I have a movie pass with my local theater, so I'm just wasting money by not using that to the fullest extent if I'm not seeing every film that comes through those doors. So that's the next goal, and I have to stay on that. The final goal for movies is the same as the final goal for books was, except this is worse. On that list of movies that I said I have to watch in 2024, so far, after 25% of the year, I've only watched 4.35% of the movies on that list. And I'm actually embarrassed by that, and I need to do better. And I just keep watching things like Day Shift and Love and Monsters instead of actually watching the good things on the list that I need to watch, which is embarrassing. So the final movie goal is to watch your list movies. I hope that I'm watching this back in January 2025. You better be watching this back, McKenna. And if you, okay, let's make it official right now. Any movie from that list, any movie, all of them, all 69 movies, any movie that you have not seen from that list by January 2025, you have to watch it by the end of February 2025, or else I don't know what or else, but you have to. That's the rule. And then an overarching goal for Q2 is to get better at YouTube time management so that I can keep ingesting books and movies at the frequency that I want to. I am so brand new to this, and I had the posting schedule down from the beginning, except for pneumonia week. But I've basically been like scripting videos on Monday, filming Tuesday, editing Tuesday night, posting Wednesday, and it gets stressful, or the same thing for Sunday. And it gets stressful and it's really thick. And so I need to get on this schedule where I'm, filming 4 videos in a day and getting them all knocked out so I'm on top of my schedule so that I'm able to read and watch more things, because also the past month most of my time has been filming and editing mostly, and so I haven't had as much time aside from the sickness to read and watch things. So the goal is to lock my schedule down, tighten up editing, and get on top of it. And I still don't understand how other YouTubers do this any faster. It can take like 12 hours for me to edit a video, or more, 12 plus hours. So let me know your tips and tricks if you have any. So now for a tiny baby list of ideas for spring books and movies. This isn't a set TBR or TBW by any means. It's just a little thought experiment for things that give me spring vibes that I might find my way to over the next 3 months. For books that are coming out either in April or have come out super recently, we have A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. And I mentioned this in my April TBR, I am reading it this month, but I wanted to mention it again because it's giving springtime energy for sure. This is about 2 men in Victorian London who raise a monstrous plant daughter. It has plants and flowers, it has the Victorian era, it has the gays, all things that give big spring, trust me. Then coming out on April 9th, which if you're watching this video on the day this comes out, it'll have come out yesterday. We have A Short Walk Through a Wide World by Douglas Westerbeek, which is about a girl who gets cursed and has to keep wandering forever or else she'll bleed to death. Does that sound right? The synopsis talks about wonder and all these beautiful places that she has to wander to around the world so that she doesn't die. So maybe I'll get some Portal fantasy vibes without the actual portals, hopefully. Either way, this book is screaming springtime because it's basically about a girl who's on an eternal spring break. Good for her. Then we have a book of poetry that's also coming out on April 9th, Instructions for Traveling West by Joyce Sullivan. I have been waiting for this woman's poetry book to come out for, I think, a year now. So once I have my hands on that book, you will not be able to stop me. And the synopsis says, first you must realize you're homesick for all the lives you're not living. What happens when we heed the call of furious reinvention? A book for anyone flinging themselves into fresh starts. And what could be more springtime than that? 'Tis the season for spring cleaning, fresh starts, reinventing yourself, starting anew. We're in our fresh start era. Lastly, for upcoming books, on April 23rd, we have A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Cathrall, which is about a woman who lives in an underwater home, and the man pen pal that she writes letters to and falls in love with before a sea earthquake destroys her home and they both disappear. And it says it's a whimsical epistolary fantasy set in a mystical underwater world with mystery and heartwarming romance. And if that doesn't scream springtime to you, I don't know what the f would. We're on spring break again. We're in the ocean. Our cover looks like this. It's springtime, baby! Spring! And then quickly, there's a few backlist books that sound like springtime and I have yet to read, but I really want to soon. Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Sugimura, which is about stressed and depressed kids who get portaled to a magic castle every night. The Strange the Dreamer duology by Laini Taylor, about a librarian in love with a lost mythic city who dreams about a blue-skinned goddess. These two books by Alison Saft, A Fragile Enchantment, about a magical dressmaker who falls in love with a prince, and A Far Wilder Magic, about a quasi-magical boy and girl who need to capture an ancient fox creature. And then there's Anything by Niall Williams, the most Irish author ever, and everyone knows that Ireland is the manifestation of eternal spring, so anything Niall Williams screams springtime. And finally, this is my list of 24 movies I haven't seen, but strike me as very springtime for one reason or another. And I am once again asking for your help. If you've watched any of these movies and you agree that I need to watch them in the springtime, if the vibes are right, please let me know. I will be accepting the top 5 movies with the most amount of votes, and I'll be watching them ASAP. Okay, so I have these ordered from highest average rating to lowest average rating on Letterboxd. The Grand Budapest Hotel, Amelie, Pride and Prejudice, which I know, I haven't watched, I know. The Wind Rises, Frances Ha, Marriage Story, Big Fish, Melancholia, Marie Antoinette, Swiss Army Man, The Secret Garden, Death at a Funeral, Never Let Me Go, Garden State, Elvis, Emma, My Policeman, Tuck Everlasting, 16 Candles, In Secret, Just My Luck, Percy Jackson, Endings Beginnings, and Battlefield Earth. And I will be taking no questions. I don't know why Battlefield Earth feels like spring to me, but it does. So if you've seen any of those and they scream springtime to you and you think I should watch them in the springtime, it feels right, let me know. Top 5 with the most votes, they win, I'm watching. Okay team, that's it. I think this one's actually gonna be fast. I know I keep saying it's gonna be a quick video and then it's like 20 minutes or more. I think this one's actually gonna be fast. And that's it. Our first quarter vibe check is in the books. We have goals set, we have questions asked and yet to be answered. We have books and movies galore lined up. I guess in the next vibe check video, I'm gonna look back at this and test myself and see what goals I stuck to and what I didn't. And then I'll keep doing that moving forward and use the past videos to keep pressing on. Good work today. Good work today, team. I'll see you in Q2. Thank you so much for being here. If you can hear me, if you can read the subtitles, I love you, and I hope to see you again soon. Quarterly vibe check? No, none of that. Which means that 90, nope, I don't know what or else. Or else you have to throw away your favorite shirt. That's stupid. Is that stupid? Whatever. No, I love my shirts. That's not stupid. I love my shirts. Oh, I need to change my battery. All right. And the man pen not need me. Librarian in love with a loft